So yesterday we have seen how to link the methods with one by one, how to chain the methods, chaining of methods we have seen. So in encapsulation, so we are pending with access modifiers and also inner classes, inner interfaces, and inner enums, how to create a class inside another class. Okay, how to create an interface inside another interface. Suppose if I create a class, how can if I create a inner class, how can I create the object for that inner class? Okay, these topics are pending, access modifiers and the inner classes. So see, once we complete inheritance and polymorphism, then there I will explain how to use access modifiers. Okay, in our programming, we are already using the access modifiers. Okay, one is public and another one is default also we are. If you don't specify anything, which means that is a default access modifier. This is the public. Similarly, so we have written public methods. Okay, whenever we generate setters and getters, it is generating with the public keyword, right? Okay, which means you are giving the access to other classes. Okay, access modifiers is a separate concept, so that we will discuss once we complete the polymorphism. So now also I can explain, but if I explain with the inheritance and the polymorphism, you will understand better understanding purpose. Once I complete this polymorphism and inheritance, then there I will explain access modifiers and also inner classes. So once we discuss the inner classes, so we can discuss the abstraction. Okay, with the inner classes, with anonymous class, nowadays, if you want to learn the Java new features, you should learn inner classes and also anonymous class. Okay, those we'll discuss once we complete this polymorphism. Okay. So inheritance, what is inheritance? Okay, what is inheritance? What is the general meaning of inheritance? Okay, so general meaning. So fetching some properties, like assigning some properties to the child. Suppose if there is a parent and child relation. Okay, so automatically, if there is a relation between parent and child, okay, all the properties will be given to child only. Okay, in real world also, if we have parent and child relation, father and son, father and daughter. Okay, if father has some properties, so child also automatically gets those properties automatically, right? Okay, so that is general inheritance. So here also, when we create different classes, if we provide the relation between two classes or more than two classes, based on the hierarchy, the properties of a class, what are the properties of a class? Properties are nothing but the variables and the methods. So what we are writing, the variables and methods only, right? Except that what we are writing, we are writing variables and methods. Those we call it as class properties. Okay, if you provide the relation between two classes or more than two classes, the properties automatically comes to the another class based on the hierarchy. So we have to specify which one is child and which one is parent. Okay, so getting the properties, inheritance means getting the properties. 1 second. Of a class directly to another class. Getting the properties of a class directly to another class when there is a relation. There is a condition again. Okay, when there is a relation. Okay, so generally this we compare with the blood relations. Okay, child, parent, grandparent, ancestor, like that. Okay, so child will get all the properties of parent, grandparent, and like ancestor, right? Generally in the real world. So similarly, so if you provide the relation, if we construct the relation between these classes, so we will get the properties directly to, we can fetch the properties directly to different classes. How to do that programmatically, I will explain. Okay. So, and also in inheritance, when we are like, when you are constructing the relation, when you are assigning the relation between the classes, we can assign in a different ways we can assign. Okay, we can assign between only two classes, we can assign between more than two classes. When we have more than two classes, how we can assign. Okay, so for this we have different types, those we will discuss. Okay, so first I will take simple example. Okay, so let me create one new package. Package name is inheritance. So here I'm creating one simple example for understanding purpose. So here, college details. Okay, so this example, okay, so some part it will cover from the inheritance. So in general, okay, what we do is not only fetching the properties. Okay, so generally for the fetching purpose only we use this inheritance, but along with that, when to provide the relation also we have to know. Okay, so there are some classes we should not blindly go and we should not put the relation between the classes. When to provide the relation between classes also we have to know. Okay, so with this example, okay, you will get some like some part of inheritance information. So I will cover few more examples. There you will get the clarity. Okay, so there is a college. Okay, so college has some details. Okay, so here I'm creating college name, college name, university name. These are strings, and we have college code. College code. So let me take the example. Okay, Osmania University. College name. So we can take some Mallareddy College. College code some 12345. Okay, so like this we have some variables. Okay, some college details we have. Okay, so college location. So you can say college location. So it is Hyderabad. So let me create one more class. Student details. or you can create as a student. College details, you can call it as a college. Okay, let me create as student only. Finish it. So I want to rename the college details, class name. So generally, if you want to rename, do not directly go and do not change here. Even though you change, nothing will happen, but do not change like this. So right click on your class, go to refactor, then select the rename. Okay, so why we need to select this, that I will explain later. Because if you are using this college class into some other packages and some other classes, okay, there also you have to go to update the class name, right? So if you directly change here, that time it will not update in the other classes in the other packages. Okay, if you select that refactor option, it will it will automatically renames everywhere, not only into your current file. Okay, so let me create some student details. Okay, student. So we can have string student name, some student name. Okay, some Ram Kumar. String roll number, some 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let me take the roll number as some long, or take the integer. And class. Okay, or grade. We can take in qualification. Okay, some 10th class student or B.Tech student. So I want to display student details. Okay, I want to display student details. Okay, let me create one method. So void display student details. What you can do is, so you can directly print the student details like this. Student name, student name, this dot student name. Similarly, roll number, roll number. And qualification. So let me create the main method here. So if I want to access this instance information, what we have to do? So we create a object, and then I can call the display student details method. Okay, so it will print student details. This is a routine story. So we are seeing from last couple of classes. Okay, if I want to, okay, so in college details also. Okay, so let me create one method, void display college details. So here, university name, you have university name. You have college name. Similarly, you have college location. Okay. So if I want to display, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So it is restarted automatically. Zoom is restarted automatically. Sorry for that. Okay. Okay, so here, along with the student details, I also want to display the college details. How I can do that? Somebody tell me. If I want to display the college details, how I can display the college details here. So here, if I want to display college details, again I have to create the object for college details. So then I can call college details method, display college details method. Okay. So if I call college details plus student details, so it is also showing the college details and the student details, right? So here what you are doing. So suppose if you want display the details of student along with the college details. So you are creating these objects separately, right? But if we provide the relation between this college and the student, suppose some student joined into some college, which means there is a relation, there will be some relation with the college, right? Once he joins into the college. If we provide the relation between college and the student, instead of creating two objects, you can create only one object and your college details you can access directly, okay, without creating the other object. How we can do that? Okay, so the simple thing is, if we want to provide the relation between college, so we have one separate keyword, that is extends college. Okay, so extends college means, so you already have one college class that you are extending with student information. Okay, some more information will be added with the help of some other class. Okay, so what is extends, what does it mean? This we will discuss later. So as of now, if you want to provide the relation between student and the college, you can, once you provided the relation with the extend keyword, you can directly access college information with the student object. So here I like no need to create the object like this. Simply you can access college information also with the student object. Okay, so if you run it, see again I'm getting the college information with the student object. So in background what happens is, whenever we provide the relation, so let me show you diagrammatically. So whenever you create separate objects, okay, so data will be created separately. Okay, college and the student. Okay, so if you provide the relation between two classes, okay, when you provide the relation between two classes, so it creates only one object. It creates only one object. And inside that, again, it creates subblocks for your college and for your student. Okay, so this is the college and this is the student type. Okay, okay, relation will be built like this. So here these two are separate objects. When you create with a separate object, two separate objects will be created. But when you provide the relation between two classes, okay, so it will create only one object. So for that object, you are giving the name as student 1. So now the student 1 represents this memory location. Whenever you execute, okay, whenever you execute this method with student 1, this display college details method, in the background, first it will go to student object and it will search for the method. So here we have only display student details. We have only display student details method. So here we have display college details method. So whenever you call with student 1, first it will go to this student block, the student block. If this method is available, then it calls from this block. If it is not available, there is a relation between these classes, right? So it will go to the parent class, top class, whatever the relation we provided to that block, it will go and it will search. Okay, so the here, if you observe here, when you call student method, first it will go to the student class. If it is available, it will call from this location. If it is not available, it will backtrack. It will go to this college location because it is extended from the college. Okay, so the advantage is for the compiler is whenever you have for the execution and the compilation, whenever you have less objects, okay, we create n number of objects in the programming. Whenever we allocate less objects, whenever you occupy with the less objects, even though you occupy huge memory, if you create objects, lesser objects, count of objects lesser, that time it is easy for your compiler and executors to execute your program. Okay, whenever we create the less variables, okay, less objects, object is nothing but how we are representing. So we are representing with the variable only, right? Finally, whenever we have lesser objects, your executors and loaders and your compilers works very faster. Okay, so that's where we have Java is a reusable programming language. Okay, with the less number of codes, you can cover huge logics with very less number of codes. So we have so many techniques to reuse our code. So here the reusability is, instead of creating two objects, we can allocate only one object. That data we can store into the object location, single object location. So inside that, again it will create the subblocks and it will assign the type to the subclass. Okay, what is the reason to assign the subclass? This we will discuss in the upcasting and downcasting part. There you will understand it. So as of now, if you provide the relation between two classes, it will allocate memory for all these classes, all two classes. It will store the data into a single memory location. Okay, so like that you can avoid the creation of objects. You can avoid the creation of objects. And also all the properties of a class you can directly access with your child class object. Instead of accessing separately, you can directly access the child class object. Okay, whenever we are creating some data, okay, so if you want to like follow some rules, so generally university name won't change, right? Okay, you can directly use university. Okay, so whenever we are writing in a capital letter means it is a final. And if you are not changing, if it is a common data, use as static. University underscore name. Okay, college name might change, college code might change, college location might change. If you have more than one student, okay, so college name also is common for everyone, right? That you can store into the static memory. College code also you can store into the static memory. Similarly, college location, it is common for everyone. Okay, so whenever you declare with the static, it's better to use the class name to understand your code better. If you follow these rules, you can easily understand the code. Okay, these are the static variables. Okay, if you want to display college details, you can directly display with the student details. Again, whenever we have static data, so that data how we can access. So if you don't want to display all college details, I don't want to display all college details. I want to display only college name and college location of a student. So in the display student details, what you can do is, so here student college name. Okay, so college name. So whatever the college name we are using in the college class, that you can directly access. How you are accessing your variables, that you can directly access into your class. Okay, college name. If it is a static variable, okay, if you want to specify with the college class, you can specify like this. Similarly, college location. So you can directly access the properties of class, properties of a class to your class directly when you provide the relation between these two classes. Okay, so not only for two classes, if you want to assign relation between more than one class, that is also possible. Okay, whenever you provide relation between more than one class, how we can access and how many ways we can provide the access. So we have types. Okay, so we have types like single inheritance. Single inheritance. So whenever you say single inheritance, it's between two classes. Between two classes. Relation between two classes. Similarly, we have multi-level inheritance. Multi-level. Okay, so single inheritance means single level. So multi-level inheritance we have. So multi-level means relation between more than two classes. More than two classes. We have hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance. So hierarchical inheritance means, so whenever you provide relation between two classes, one is child and another one is parent. In the multi-level inheritance, okay, the relation will be like child, parent, grandparent, and ancestor. Like that, it will continuously provide the relation. Okay, child, parent, and for parent again parent. For again the grandparent, we have parent, ancestor. Like that, we can provide the relation. Multi-level. Okay, coming to hierarchical. For two different children, you can have one parent. For two different children, for two different classes, you can have one parent class. So that comes under hierarchical. Okay, it is also relation between more than two classes. Childs can be different. So similarly, we have hybrid inheritance. Hybrid inheritance. Hybrid. So any combination. Okay, so among these three, any combination. So generally, multi-level and hierarchical inheritance. If you combine both together, which comes under hybrid inheritance. Combination of multi-level inheritance and hierarchical inheritance. So we have one more inheritance, multiple inheritance. Okay, multiple inheritance. So this is for a single child. Okay, there are more than one parent. Okay, so you have only one child class, but you have more than one parent. That comes under multiple inheritance. So let me show you diagrammatically and how to use it, that I will explain. So I have already created one diagram, so I will open it and show you. Yeah. Okay. So single inheritance we have seen. Okay. So B is the child, A is the parent. Okay. So if you provide relation between, you are directly accessing the properties of A to B. Okay. So B, using B, you can create object for using B, and you can access information of A using B. So here, multi-level inheritance, multi-level. So you can provide the relation between more than two classes. So here we have A, B, C, D. Okay, D is the child, C is the parent, B is the grandparent, and A is the ancestor. Okay, so like this also you can provide for more than one class. You can provide relation like this. So sometimes for a single parent you can have multiple childs. Okay, if you have multiple childs, if you have single parent, it comes under hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical. So this is just hierarchical. Up to ABC only, it is hierarchical. Again, if you combine multi-level and also this hierarchical part, it comes under hybrid inheritance. Okay, so here you have hierarchical plus you have multi-level. Up to ABC, it's a hierarchical, and ABDE is one multi-level, and ACFG is one multi-level. Okay, it is a combination of hierarchical. It is a combination of hierarchical and the multi-level. So it comes under hybrid inheritance. Okay, so for a single parent, so see, if you observe here, this is the hierarchical A, B, C. Okay, if you create under B, if you create again DE as a hierarchy, so which involves A, B, D is one multi-level and A, B, E will be one multi-level. But if you create like this, A, B, C, it is a hierarchical. So for a single child, you can have more than one parent, A, B. Okay. So with the classes, if you define the data with the classes, okay, so class is nothing but it is also a data type, right? Class, what is the class? It is also a reference data type. How we are using variables and variables to store the data. Similar way only we are storing the data of student into a class variable, right? This is the variable which is a type of student class. The data you created with new student that you are storing into student, right? So class is also a type of data. So if you create a student, it is a student type of data. Whatever you create inside this logical unit, which comes under student type of data. So which means in this student type of data, if you create a variable like student one, you can store only student type of data. Suppose if you create a integer, int a equals to some, if you declare int a, which type of data you can store? You can store only integer type of data. And also you can store short type of data and also byte type of data. Okay, so here also we can do that. We can do the same thing if you provide the relation. How to do that we will discuss later. But when we create the class, so in the starting class only I have explained it. So class is nothing but classification. Okay, where you will do the classification. Okay, on the data only you will do the classification. Okay, on what basis you will do the classification? So you will divide based on the type of data, which means data type. Type of data, based on the type of data, you will divide the used data into like some sub chunks. Okay, you will classify the data like that. So class is nothing but some data type. Class is nothing but data type. Okay, so here coming to multiple inheritance. This is one data type and this is B is one data type, different data types, right? If you fetch that data to C, it will become again, it is a meaningless data type, right? So that is the reason with the classes, the multiple inheritance is not possible with the classes, but it is possible with the interfaces. Why it is possible that we will discuss later. So first we will discuss this single, multi-level, hybrid, and hierarchical inheritance. Okay. So let me create one more class, faculty class, faculty. So in faculty class, so faculty can access. Okay, if I provide the relation between student and faculty, what happened? Okay, this is faculty only, right? So let me extend student. Okay, let me extend student. Yeah. So if I extend the student, okay, so you already extended the college into student. Again, if you extend the student to faculty, so it becomes multi-level from faculty to student, from student to college, multi-level. Okay, so for example, so let me save this single inheritance. So if you create the, if you provide the relation between class, faculty, sorry, faculty, college, and student. So here, if you create the object for faculty, you already provided the relation between. So these three classes for faculty also memory will be allocated. So this entire thing you are representing with faculty. Okay. So you can write faculty details inside this class. So let me write some details of faculty. Okay, so for faculty, faculty name we can have string faculty name. Okay, some names. Okay, some symbol. Okay, subject. Some automation testing. Okay, if you create the object for your faculty, some commenting this main method. So let me create object for faculty. Faculty one. It becomes, it creates a object for your faculty. So in the backend, it creates a single object, single memory location for all your faculty, student, and college. So simply you can call student details. See, it is directly providing the student name, which means it is also provides student detail. Okay, let me write some method to display faculty details. Okay, this is just layman example. Okay, generally, okay, so not only for this kind of examples, so you can use this relations, you can use this inheritance part like for non-related data types also. But the actual purpose I will explain later. Okay, this is theoretical this is for theoretical understanding. Okay, so the actual usage I will explain later. Okay, so let me print faculty details. So faculty name, and subject. So here faculty name and also subject. So in the student class, what I do is, so I remove these two fields. So now in faculty class, so whatever the data you have in student and the college, that you can directly use it, that you can directly access. If you want, you can access here college name directly, college code, all these things you can directly use like your own class. Okay, even though you don't see the data into your faculty class, still you are able to call the variable of some other class. So that is the reason we provide the relation. Okay, to access directly from another class, we use the inheritance. Okay, if you call student details, you can call college details, you can directly call with the faculty object, and you can also call your own methods. Faculty details. So if you run it, the entire data you can display with the faculty object. That is the advantage with the inheritance. The entire data you can fetch into some single memory location and you can access easily. Okay, you might like think like, so we can create all these methods and all this data into a single class, right? Okay, why to again differentiate into these classes? Why to classify the data into different classes? So all these things we can write into a single class. If we create the object for that single class, that is also easy, right? Then why to create different classes and why to provide the relations between these classes? Okay. So for the maintainability, so we have to create different classes. Suppose in future, okay, some college code might change, some college location might change. This college location and college code might change. If you write everything in a single class, what happens is to search for that college name. Okay, so you have to go through the entire data. Okay, to search for the college location name, you have to go through the entire data. Suppose if you have some huge data, okay, for the searching purpose, it takes more time, right? If you want, you can club together with the help of inheritance. But for the maintainability, you can make it as different classes. So there you can maintain corresponding data. Okay, like that if we create for your compiler, okay, so whenever you are calling this method, display details method, by default, what it is working, your compiler is working in the backend. When you save your code, your compiler immediately checks whether this method is available in the data or not. Suppose if I create some faculty one, some display, it is not available. That is the reason it is showing error. It is not available in the memory. But to search for display method, what it has to do is, it has to go to this faculty class, Again, if it is not available, it has to go to the student class. and it has to go to this college class. Then if it is not available, then it will display the error. Okay, if we have some hundreds of classes, your compiler again, it has to check all hundreds of classes, right? All hundreds of classes. It is waste of time for your compilation. Okay, so that is the reason. If we create the data into different classes, it is easy to maintain and also easy for compilation. For execution, it is a common approach. Execution, it is always starts from bottom to top approach. Okay, when we create the object, it always starts from bottom to top approach. That I will explain later. You can't understand now. Okay, but for the compilation purpose, at least for the compilation time also we have to decrease. Okay, if you write some lakhs number of codes, okay, when you compile your program, sometimes your system itself will hang to compile the program. That much time it takes sometimes. Some huge calculations. Okay, but if we divide into classes, there is one advantage that you will understand once we start this upcasting and downcasting process. Okay, yeah. So you can create the relation like multi-level inheritance. Suppose if I want to, so let me create one more class. Here I'm creating the class name is office tab. Office. Some staff is there. Okay, office tab they can access. Okay, so office tab some give me the name as some Ravi. Okay, so if I create the object, and if I provide the relation to the office, okay, so let me extends office, not office, it is a faculty. If I create the object for my office class, so I can directly access all three classes, right? So that is the common story again, like we did for faculty, student, and college. Okay, similarly, you are adding one more level. One more class you added, and one more level will be added. Okay, so here, so let me create the object for office. The new office. So you can access, okay, all the student, faculty, and the college details. This is fine. So generally, if we have some admin, okay, if we have some admin or some other department which is related to office only, okay, but I don't want to provide access to that department. Suppose I have office tab. Okay, for the office tab, to maintain the office tab, we have some other department. I have some other department, but that department should not access office details, office tab details. Okay, so let's take logistics, college logistics. Logistics. Okay, so logistics generally, so they can access the data of the faculty, okay, the students' data. But if you don't want to provide the access to your office data, office tab data, what you can do is, again, you can extend the faculty. If you extend the faculty, so this logistics cannot access the office data. So let me create one method, void display office details. So just let me print that office staff name. Okay. So now I have some logistics class. So can I access? So let me create the main method here. Can I access office office details data into my logistics? Okay, so let me create one object for logistics. So if I try to access office details dot office details method, display office details method in logistics, it can't be possible because there is no relation between logistics and office. So if I create a diagram to explain this, so let me save this. So now first we created college, then we created student, then faculty, then we created office, and also we created logistics. Okay, so let me put some identifiers: college, student, faculty, and office logistics. Okay, the relation we provided. Okay, so office and okay. So from college to student, we provided the relation, and student to faculty. Similarly, from faculty to office and faculty to logistics. Okay, this is a combination of both hierarchical and multi-level, right? It is a hybrid inheritance. So in the hybrid inheritance, you may not access some other classes information, because if you want to access office to logistics to office, you cannot access because there is no relation between these two classes. There is no relation. Okay. So when you provide the relation like this, okay, so you can access faculty information to office and also logistics information, like faculty information to logistics and all the other hierarchy which we have. But coming to logistics and office, these two are different classes. From here again it will different. This is the parent. Parent has two childs. One child again data will be different and another child data will be different from here. Okay, so when you have this kind of relation, you cannot access the information of one child to another child. Okay, so to understanding purpose, okay, for understanding purpose, I have shown these relations. I have shown these relations for the understanding purpose. So the generally, okay, the general meaning of. So if you want to provide the relation between the classes, what we are doing, we are using extend keywords, right? Okay, let me take one normal example to explain the meaning of extends. Okay, so when we have to go with the extends, Let me explain now. So if you want to understand the relations, and also if you want to like provide the relations between the among the classes, when you provide different relations, how you can access, to explain that purpose, I have created these classes. Okay, so now I want to create one class, simple example only, calculator. Okay, so let me create some methods. Let me copy from the encapsulation. So you have some methods in the calculator. So let me remove everything. So here I want to pass int a comma b, int. So let me copy these variables. So the general meaning, let me explain when to use the extend keywords, and suppose somebody has created. Okay, so he knows only up to division part. Most of the time we use division. Modular division, only few people only knows about the modular division. Until they know coding, they may not aware of the modular division. Okay, so the basic operations of arithmetic operations are, so these are, right, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay, so let me write some statement here. So this is multiplication, and also this is the division. Okay, so you are fine with this calculator. Okay, whenever you call, okay, it is giving some answers, that is fine. But somewhere you got some requirement where you need to get the remainder value. Okay, when you use the division, you always get the quotient value. Quotient. Okay, when you divide 10 with 2, so generally the answer is 5. Right? 10 by 2 is equal to 5. 5. Right? So sometimes, okay, you want a remainder. Remainder means, suppose I have 13. 13 by 2. What is the value of 13 by 2? Okay, so if you use, generally we get 6. But you want the remainder 1. Okay, how you will get this remainder 1? Okay, you have a separate operator, that is percentile. If you use this, you will get the 1. Okay, when you use the division, you will get the quotient. When you use percentile, you will get the remainder. Okay, somewhere you have requirement. So to get the remainder value. Okay, so now somebody is already developed this class. This you are unable to edit. To add the new logic. You are unable to edit. Or they have provided only class file. You are unable to see the logic also. But still it is working. Okay, in this case, what you can do is, you can create one new class. Okay, so let me create as new calculator. In new calculator, I'm adding one more facility, one more functionality. Okay, to get the remainder value of a two numbers. Okay, so now here I will create a new calculator. Okay, so again, do we need to copy all these logics into new calculator? If you want, you can copy that if you have the access. But if you have some lakhs number of codes, if you copy the same logic, what is the meaning of copying it? It is already have the logic, use it if you want. But again, copying is a waste of memory and also waste of time. And there will be no use when you copy directly to your new class. But how can I get that logic into my class without copying it? Okay, basically that is the purpose we have these relations. Okay, so here, so there is some calculator class. Okay, so there you want to add a new functionality along with the existing functionality. You want to add a new functionality. So in that case, you are adding new functionality, right? So in that case, you are extending the existing class. Extends calculator. You are extending the existing calculator class with your new logic. Okay, with your new calculator, this new calculator extending calculator class with new logic. Okay, while mod division. That is the meaning of your extends int a, int b. Okay, so not fetching means not only simply fetching the data. Okay, the extends means you have a calculator class that you are extending with new calculator class, which means your new calculator class will act as a calculator along with the new logic. That is the meaning of your extends. Okay. Okay, now if you create an object for your new calculator, it also acts like a old calculator along with the new logic. So generally, so the basic layman example is, so every time we get the updates into our phone, right? Okay, whatever the app we install, those apps keep on update. They keep on add the new functionalities. In that case, do they remove entire code? Do they ask you to remove the entire app and do they ask you to reinstall it? No, right? Okay, they will send some update by adding some new logic. They will not override anything. Okay, just they will extend, they will create a new class and they will add the new functionality, just that functionality, that particular new feature. So they will give you as a update, okay, by extending it. Okay, so now your new like app acts with the new logics as a new logic. Okay, so here if you create the object for your child class, it will act as a old calculator, similarly new calculator. You can access both old calculator methods. Addition you can access. Okay, suppose 10 comma 2. So let me use division here. Division 10 comma 2 or 13 comma 2. And also you can access the new logic. That is the meaning of extends. So you are extended the old logic with the new logic. Okay, in that case, we have to use the inheritance. And also sometimes we need some new output. Okay, so if I want the new output, okay, so just suppose if you take the WhatsApp. So initially we have, when you click on status, initially you have a option to update the photos, or you have a option to like write some text, right? So now they have introduced one more feature. So they have added some groups feature. Okay, in that case, if they create with the new, if they extend the class with the new feature, when you click on status, you are getting that new feature, right? So in that case, how they will do it? How they will call the old logic into the new method? Okay, suppose here my requirement is, okay, something is changed in the mathematical calculations. Okay, so my requirement is whenever I perform a addition operation, along with that, it has to add +1 or it has to add -1. Okay, for the time zones, generally it happens for the time zones. Okay, in US, if you take, the timings will be changed. So every time their a day don't like it's not a 24 hours time. Sometimes it changes to 23 hours. Within 23 hours, the day will complete. Okay, sometimes like 24 hours, more than 24 hours also sometimes happens for that to complete the day. Okay, in that case, how I can use the existing logic and also it has to display the new logic. Okay, in that case, what we can do is, suppose if I have a addition method, along with that result, with the old result, it is only giving my 10 plus, if I pass 10 plus 2, it is giving only 12. But my new requirement is, when I pass two numbers, along with the two numbers addition, it has to display +1. Okay, so in that case, what you can do is, you can create the method. You can create the method with same name. Okay, so here, see, by default, it is giving the code. No need to write also. So for this, I want to just add +1. You already have a logic. Okay, let me print it. You already have a logic. Okay, so this addition, suppose, let me go here, where it is in the calculator. Okay, so instead of printing it, okay, so let me print it as well. So along with that, I will return that value, return a plus b. It is an integer. Along with the printing, I will also return these values, a minus b. Some logic is already there, a into b. Similarly, you have a division b. When you use a division b, if you specify int, you will get the int value. If you specify float, you will get the float value. Decimals also you will get. Let me take it as int. So now in my new calculator, so my requirement is, okay, I want to call my addition method. Okay, whatever the logic I have in the old class, I need that. Along with that, I'm also required to add +1 to the result. So instead of writing the old huge logic into your new method, your new functionality, okay, what you can do is, you can call the existing logic. You can call the existing logic with super keyword, and the result you will get, right? So already you have a logic. Just what you need to do, you need to add some other +1 value. Okay, if you call this, if you want to call your parent class method, okay, you have to use the super keyword. Why we have to use that, I will explain. Suppose if you call addition method, so if I pass 10, 2, it has to display 12. Okay, as per our new logic, it has to display 30. Okay, so when you run it, so it will not, what it is calling, new calculation addition. Okay, 10 plus 2. Yeah, so it has to display 13, right? So 13 it is displaying. Okay. Okay, in the old logic also, we are printing that number, right? If you go to calculate class,
Yes, we are returning the value.
so no, it is not depending on the return. Okay, so when I call it, so by default it is printing. Okay, value 12. Okay, after that it is printing 30. Okay, again the problem is here the problem is when I call this open.addition, again it is calling the addition method. So that is the reason it is printing again 12 while returning. Okay, so here I will store int c equals to this value. So c I will print here, and so this I can if I want I can uncomment it. So in new calculator, so return c instead of calling it again. Okay, so if you run it, so it will display 30. See, but if you don't use the super, what happens? If you don't use the super, what happens here? Okay, let's run. You will get the stack overflow exception. What we are getting? Stack overflow exception. Stack overflow error. What is the stack overflow error? So most of the time we will get this error if you don't use it properly. So when I call addition method, again it is calling the addition method of your class. Again it coming to this statement, again it is calling addition method. So it is keep on calling this addition method. But what is your requirement and what is your intention? So you want to call a old class logic, with that you want to add +1. Okay, instead of writing the logic again, what you are doing, you are calling the old class method. Even though you are able to access calculator methods directly into your new calculator class, whenever there is a name, same name with the same parameters, with the same return type, whenever you have the same signature, technically this entire part we call it as a signature. Okay, based on this signature only we can identify this block. Okay, so whenever you have this same signature in both the classes, by default it calls the child class method. If you want to go back to your previous class, and if you want to call that method, you just need to simply use super keyword. Super keyword. Super means it goes to the super class. What is the super class for your new calculator? So calculator is the super class. Okay, so like that you have to use. Again, this super class you cannot call into your static methods. Why? It is similar to this keyword only. It is also represents the current object. Okay, it is also represents the current object, but this object, this particular keyword in the current object, what is the super class for your current class? It will point to that class. So let me create one diagram so you will get better understanding. So this is your new calculator object memory. Okay, so you provided relation between calculator and also new calculator. So memory will be allocated like this. You have provided the relation. Okay, you created the methods addition, subtraction, and also multiplication and division you have written. Similarly, so you have addition and you have mod division. Addition and mod division. So super and this keyword, super and this keyword again represent this current object only. Both will represent current object. Okay, but when you call addition method with super keyword, by default, it will directly goes to this memory location. Okay, so first it will goes to this memory. If the same method is available from this memory, okay, it won't call it. Okay, it won't call it. Then it will directly goes to this parent memory location, parent submemory location. It search for the same method. If it is available, it will call that method. But coming to this keyword, if this finds this method, it will call this addition method. Suppose if I use, instead of super, if I use this keyword here, again you will get the stack overflow exception. See, okay. So super keyword, first it will goes to the submemory only. If the method is available, it won't call it. It will directly goes to its parent memory location with the same method name. It will call super memory method. I mean super class memory method. Okay, so that is the difference between super and this keyword. Both will represent the object. So when these keywords will be created, when you create the object, if you don't create the object, so these two keywords will not work. Okay, so until you create this object, okay, you will not avail these two options. So that is the reason. So static, it won't allow you to use this keyword and super keyword into your static methods, even though you create it. Here you cannot use super or this keyword because this is your choice. But method is given the facility to write anything in the method. But coming to the usage, whether you create or not, that depends on you. If you don't create it, suppose if it is giving the access to use the this and super keyword directly without checking it. If you don't create it, if you try to call with the this and super keyword, what it will call? Again, you will get the errors, right? So that is the reason. So by default in Java, we have checked exceptions, checked errors. By default, it will predict the errors. Your compiler will predict the errors. Okay, you may use like this in future without creating the object. You might use this and super keyword. Why should I allow? Okay, if you don't use it, definitely you will get the error. Why should I allow? So like that it will thinks and it won't allow you this and super keyword. Because it depends on the object creation. Object creation depends on you. Whether you create or don't create, that depends on you. Okay. So if you want to use super keyword or this keyword, you have to use it in instance methods. Because why it is allowing to instance method? If you want to call this instance method, definitely you have to create the object. Without creating the object, you cannot call the instance method. So that is the base logic. So if you are creating the object means, so super and this keyword also will be available. Okay. So yeah. So the main purpose of the inheritance is, okay, so if some already logic is available. Okay. If you want to add a new functionality, so that time you will extend the existing class with the new class. You will create a new functionality in there. So I want to modify the existing logic. Okay, I want to use the existing logic along with that. Okay, so some functionality is there. I want to use it. Along with that, I have to add some new feature, some new modification in the functionality. How you can do? You can call with the super keyword and you can add the new feature to it. If you want to create a entirely new functionality, if you want to add the entire new functionality, you will extend it. Again, you will add the new functionality. So along with the existing logic also you can do. That is the main advantage with the inheritance. Okay. So while inheriting the properties, we will get some issues like this. Okay. How we can resolve. Okay. How to like work with different types of inheritances and also how we can Suppose I don't want to use my old functionality. Okay, so I have a subtraction method. I don't want to use it. In there, so I have some logic. I don't want to use that. Okay, it is possible to override everything. Okay, override everything means so here I don't want to use the subtraction method from calculator. I want to create entirely a different logic for my division for my subtraction operation. Okay, what I have to do is a minus b minus 100 I have to do. It is my new logic. I don't want to use the old logic, or a into b or a plus b plus 100. When I do subtraction, a plus b minus 100 it has to do. Okay, if I want to call the existing logic, will it work? So here my logic is different. Here in this calculator class, my logic is a minus b. But in my new calculator class, what I have to do? A plus b I have to do, with minus 100 I have to do. So here, if you call the old logic, what is the use here? There is no use, right? But the old logic you can directly override with your new logic. When you call subtraction method with your new calculator, so old logic it will not consider. It always calls the new logic. Suppose if I pass 100, 200. So the general expectation, if you call from the parent class, okay, you will get the 100 minus 100. You will get minus 100 as per. Sorry, you will get the minus 100. 100 minus 200 means minus 100 you will get. But here, if I call with the new logic, you will get the plus 100. Okay, so plus 200 when you call the subtraction method. So if you want to entirely change the method, entirely change the logic, then you can use the same name, same signature of your parent class method, and you can write your own logic here. The new function.
Shiva, what is the return a minus b minus 100? 15th line.
What is the
15th line. 15th line. Yes.
I'm just returning. This depends on you. If you want to return, okay, return it. Otherwise, make it as wide and comment it. Okay, there is no problem. Even though you return, okay. So if you want to store the result into some variable, okay, some int, a equals to. If you want to store that, you can store. If you return it, result you can store it. If you want to print it, it is already printing. Then no need to call it. No need to use it. Okay, that is not mandatory step. Here it is not mandatory step. Okay. If you want, you can return, otherwise you don't return. Okay, suppose if you are calling this new calculator, somebody has creating some other new calculator by adding, okay, some other new logic. Some huge logics he is adding, some factorials and everything he is adding. Factorials, okay, products. So those kind of logic somebody is adding. So he needs the existing logic also, right? When he calls the subtraction method, he has to get the result also, right? So that is the reason I'm just adding. Okay, that depends on if you want to return it or not. Okay. Yeah. So like this, so the purpose of inheritance is to extend the old logic, by with new logic. New calculator has some new logics. Old calculator is having some old logics. So you are extending old logics with new logics. New logics are extends old logic. New class extending old class. Okay. So this is inheritance. Okay. So while doing the inheritance, we will get some issues. Those I will explain tomorrow. Okay. So let me stop this recording.